Nietzsche talks about fear and hope also being the root of self-torment, but he makes a fantastic outline for the necessity for pain, or more precisely, for displeasure. Nietzsche alludes to and identifies the dichotomy of pleasure and displeasure. If one is always searching for fulfillment, or let's say to rid of anxiety, one may only be able to do so by confronting the displeasurable existences in our lives. So he asks the question in The Gay Science, I quote, "What if pleasure and displeasure were so tied together that whoever wanted to have as much as possible of one must also have as much as possible of the other?" End quote. Another quote, he says, "Examine the lives of the best and most fruitful people and peoples, and ask yourselves whether a tree that is supposed to grow to a proud height can dispense with bad weather and storms, whether misfortune and external resistance, some kinds of hatred, jealousy, stubbornness, mistrust, hardness, avarice, and violence do not belong among the favourable conditions without which any great growth, even of virtue, is scarcely possible." End quote. All in all, it's a confrontation with the displeasurable that he calls for. Or more importantly, it's the need for you to confront the problems which you enjoy avoiding. You could relate this to everything because it's based around courage, but the essential problem, I think, is around the self-perception in relation to anxiety. And it is this where Eastern philosophy, I think, is really useful because it juggles with the conception of the self. In the West, everything, as you will know, is about the next step, the future. So our self-conception is always based in the future. Where am I going to be? What am I going to do? This causes the self to never really be grounded in the present moment. This idea of the future and next move is the blueprint from which all technology runs on. For example, let's say you're watching Netflix. As soon as what you were watching finishes, time becomes your enemy, because within technology, you are instantly told to watch something straight after it finishes. Even to the point where it's so pervasive that most broadcasting channels don't even let you see the credits of a film. Like Netflix, for example. You can see this in cinemas as well, which is crazy because it shows how conditioned people are in always forwarding themselves in the future without living in the present. For example, soon as the credits roll, the majority of people rush as if they are in a race to get to the exit doors. It's strange and funny at the same time because it's so antithesis to what they were doing for the past 2 hours, which was sitting down and watching a film. What harm is it sitting down for an extra 5 minutes just to think about the film and talk to your friends and family next to you about it? And that, I think, highlights the major problem with self-perception in the modern day. Especially in the West, that most of the time you are always racing without being self-reflective. But if you are too self-reflective, you are still going to produce problems for yourself. So it's about finding a balance.